Hey there. Welcome to the Gyro Step Milwaukee Bucks podcast, probably a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN. I am one of your hosts, Ty Windisch. I am joined, as always, by the magnificent specimen, Rohan Katti, the number one Blake Perkins fan in the world. Rohan, how's it going?
You know what? I'm doing well. I would be doing better. Okay, so here's a little inside baseball here. So I was at the Brewer game on, what day is it today? On Sunday. And I was so ready because the last week, as people may know, I've been supporting my guy, Big Perk, Blake Perkins. He's been balling out. He had the game of his life with me in attendance last Wednesday, was it?
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah, last week, Wednesday. And then I'm coming to the stadium all ready to cheer for Big Perk, who's not in the lineup.
Oh,
not in the lineup.
Center? Who started in center?
I forgot.
Oh. I didn't see the game, so I can't help you.
I did watch the game. I didn't know who was in center though, but
yeah,
because we were sitting right field, so right.
You were ready to talk to him.
Field, excuse me.
You were ready to yell down to him.
Yeah, I was ready. I was ready to show my love to Big Perk.
Stop bunting. You're the best hitter in baseball.
Just hit bombs, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? Brewers showed out one anyway. So
yeah. It's I think I saw the White Sox, who they beat, have lost 15 of 16 now. Not great. Not great, Bob.
It's okay. Tommy Pham is fighting people. So
it's hard to be the biggest loser baseball team in a city like Chicago, but the White Sox are finding a way to do it.
Yeah, and it's an interesting scheduling quirk that it was just back-to-back Chicago for Milwaukee.
I think they should do it more. I think half the games should be against these Chicago teams. I think the Brewers would be even farther in first place if they were.
I think they
biggest division lead in baseball, by the way. Check out Cruising for a Bruisin' on GSPN Premium, add commercial-free feed, or wherever you get this podcast to make sure you're up on the Brewers, who crushing it so far.
Yeah, thanks to Big Perk.
Thanks to Big Perk in part. We got some news this week, so the main pod is going to be we're picking our early favorite 2024 NBA draft prospects. Neither of us are ready to share a Bucks big board or general big board yet. I think we'll probably do mostly Bucks big boards, but I mean, this draft, I think there's a lot of players who could fall maybe to 23. Like I think I've been listening to a lot of mock drafts, and I keep seeing like this idea that Donovan Clingan is like a top 3 guy, and like 4 straight mock drafts I checked out, he falls to like 9. Like I just think there's a lot of craziness that's on the table, because I really, even all the way up to 1, like I don't think Alex Sarr is falling to the Bucks, obviously, but I think there's such a wide range. It's really kind of a
is Sarr even going
pick what
1?
you like. I think so, but it's not 100%.
Ricochet is kind of rising, but
we'll talk about not one of my favorite prospects, but I think he is number 1 on Gavoni's draft. His like 3 days ago, he dropped a mock draft, and yeah, he had Ricochet going to the Hawks. I think that's crazy. We'll get there. But before that, we do have some news. Giannis Antetokounmpo is reportedly, according to Greek sources, sorry, I don't remember who actually said it.
It was the head coach.
Oh, that's a pretty good source. Is going to play for Greece in the Olympic pre-qualifying tournament, and then hopefully, of course, play in the Olympics as well. So a lot of people have thoughts on this. Rohan, what are your thoughts? You said you thought my thoughts were interesting, but first, what's your thoughts?
So first and foremost, really happy to see that Giannis has recovered from his injury and is in a place where he can actually play competitive basketball. I mean, as we know, like just a few months ago, Giannis was out, missed the entire postseason because of that soleus strain that he suffered back in March. No, it was March.
It was April.
I
had to look it up for my thoughts. It was early April. It felt like March. It feels like years since we've seen Giannis, but it was April.
So it's good to see that he is ready to step back on the court, play some competitive basketball. It's good. Obviously, this has been just a talking point for years within the realm of watchers of the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, obviously, knock on wood, you don't want to see anyone get hurt, especially during like non-NBA play. However, Giannis is a proud Greek man. He loves supporting his country, representing his country, and who can fault him for that? You know, he wants to deliver for the country of Greece. He wants to be able to see them on the biggest stage, and to be able to do that on the Olympic stage, You have to qualify for the Olympics. So this is saying that Giannis is going to suit up for the pre-qualifying tournament for FIBA, and it will be. It's not guaranteed that Greece is going.
Definitely not guaranteed. I just pulled up the part of the tournament they're in. Have you looked at this?
It depends on another player.
I mean, it's going to be tough either way. But yeah.
Say more.
So I didn't realize. I thought it was one big tournament. They split it up into a bunch of other tournaments. I mean, this is kind of loony, dude. How did they pick this? So tournament 1. Like, what is going? Like, okay, so the winner of each tournament has 6 teams. Only the winner goes to the Olympics. So it's not all in the same group. It's one per batch of 6 team goes. Group 1, Lebanon, Angola, Spain. Should Lebanon and Angola even show up? What? And then group 2 is Finland, Poland, Bahamas. Finland's pretty good. I mean, like Spain has a pretty easy group. The next group of 6, Georgia, okay. Philippines, Latvia, okay. Brazil, Cameroon, Montenegro. Again, that's not great overall quality of team. The tournament Giannis Greece is in. Slovenia, very good, especially if Luka goes. We'll see, but very, very good. New Zealand, also a good basketball country. Croatia, also a pretty good basketball country. Greece in Group B. So at least their group is easy. It's Egypt and Dominican Republic. So getting through Group B is the easy part, but you have to win then against it. You probably have to beat 2 of the A teams, which I imagine Slovenia and New Zealand will be right up there. And then you look at the last one: Mexico, Ivory Coast, Lithuania, Italy, Puerto Rico, Bahrain. I feel like Greece got pretty unfortunate with the caliber of teams in its groups.
Yeah, I think that's why I said it depends on one player, because it's really Slovenia, right?
I mean, New Zealand and Croatia are solid too.
I'd say Croatia more than New Zealand.
I would too.
I still think Greece is capable of winning this. I think Luka would make it a lot more difficult, but
I bet he goes. Knock on wood if he ends healthy. First matches are July 2.
After a title win. By the way.
Yeah, I hope so too.
It's Celtics Mavs.
We all knew. Dude, the Wolves went out so sad.
They did. They were just happy to not get swept.
Luka has that effect on teams.
Yeah.
When they knocked out the Suns, like, Luka makes you question your whole franchise existence.
Do you think they lost Game 4 on purpose so they could embarrass them the Wolves on their home court?
I don't think they tried as hard as they could have in Game 4 for sure.
Because that's a thing that they tend to do.
Yeah.
I mean, who can forget the infamous Game 7 against the Suns back in 2022? Was that 22? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Chris Paul hits a big lead to cut the lead to 37 or whatever. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, Greece, this is July 2nd through the 7th, I believe, for the qualifying tournament.
There is a back-to-back in there. I looked at the actual schedule. Greece will be playing
on Wednesday, July 3rd, and then Thursday, July 4th.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they'll be okay rest-wise. That's the Dominican Republic and Egypt.
Yeah, in Peace and Friendship Stadium.
It's nice.
Yeah, good for them.
Oh, it's in Greece. So they're the host team of this tournament, or the first part. And actually, they're the host of this whole thing. So that's an advantage for Greece. The semis and the final, which are also a back-to-back, will also be in Peace and Friendship Stadium. So if Greece wins their group, they will then play A2. So whoever finishes second out of Slovenia, New Zealand, Croatia, and then whoever wins the B2 versus A1, that'll be the final. So it's at most 4 games.
And they realistically only have to win 3 of them. You only really...
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to lose one of the first 2.
No, you shouldn't want to, but probably.
I think it'd be pretty tough for them to finish third.
It's a max of 4 games. But then again, if you qualify for the Olympics, you're also then going to play in the Olympics. So that's more.
How many games is the Olympics, though?
It's like
I'm looking it up here.
3 in the group stage, and then it goes to the knockout. So it's going to be like, I don't know, 10 games or something, maybe less.
Yeah.
But that will be in late July/August. So
yeah,
again,
that is, starts 27 July to August 10.
Yes. So I want you to give you had a very specific take on this that I want to talk about. So if you want to share your take about this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think it matters that Giannis plays in an international competition, especially given he's been off for, I mean, by the time this starts, it'll be going on 3 months, because he's going to be playing basketball anyway. And I don't think personally it's that much riskier. And I saw a couple people yelled at me and said, a workout with Dame. I said, a workout, if you're mad about this, you should be mad about a workout with Dame. And they said, oh, it's not going to be game speed intensity. And really? Do you think Giannis and Dame, they get together to work out and they're doing walkthroughs? No, I think they're playing basketball. I think playing basketball is playing basketball. I think the most debilitating basketball injuries are not from contact with other players. I think it's you pull up wrong and it sucks. Like I don't think, like, we've seen the most, like, look at Thanasis. He got hurt in a workout. Like it happens. I don't think there's a huge difference personally, enough to be worried about or enough to say, I don't want Giannis playing for his country, which he loves to do. I don't think the risk is that much higher. I think the one scenario when it was 2021, when the schedule was delayed and they were playing like right up until it and got absolutely no break. But again, it's going to be 3 months from Giannis last playing competitive ball. And again, he hasn't probably been playing at all because of the injury. It's not like, he's been getting workouts in. He really hasn't. And then they play at most, they play 4 games in early July. And then another 7 games, if they even make it, in the Olympics from late July to early August. And then he's off again until like late September. I don't see it as a concern at all, personally.
I do agree that I don't think it's that much of a concern. I mean, how can you fault him for wanting to do this? That's been my stance for years now about this, because this has just been a talking point for years. There is a difference between competitive play and summer workouts, though. I will say, I think it's fair to say.
Do you think Giannis is not going as hard as possible when he's in the gym?
I do. I don't think he is.
I do.
I don't think you're going game speed in full contact when you're working out with Dame.
I don't feel like the contact is the thing that leads to the most devastating basketball injuries.
For the most part, but contact can lead to that. It can. So I agree with your premise. It's like it's like do the ends justify the means for this? But I agree with the premise. I disagree with the sentiment. No, other way around. I agree with the sentiment. I disagree with the premise.
I mean, I just think the injuries we're all worried about are the injuries that like could be just running in the gym.
I think any injury, like obviously you're worried about the big boy injuries.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Giannis rolls his ankle playing for Greece, that sucks. But it's from a Bucks perspective, it doesn't matter at all.
That's true.
I mean, it sucks. I would feel for Giannis for sure. Greece would probably be completely sunk. But if Giannis rolls his ankle on August 10,
too.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to. And obviously, there's other injuries besides rolling ankles, but I don't know. Personally, I think it's overblown. I think
injuries. He's been dealing with calf injuries. He's been dealing with knee injuries. Like those have been nagging things for years now.
Yep.
I do think there's more of a risk of doing that in an Olympic qualifying tournament against other nationalities, people who are passionate about playing for their country, versus in whatever gym in Portland.
Maybe. I don't think I think he's playing basketball either way. I think you can get hurt playing basketball. I think more often you don't get hurt playing basketball. It is what it is. It's never been something I've been able to work myself up about.
Fair enough. Ooh, Justin Jefferson got a new deal.
Basketball players play basketball is my take. Yeah. Wow, 4 years, $140 million. Cowboys still waiting to pay Dak. Maybe that price will go down eventually.
It's Jaden McDaniels money.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on the Olympics besides rooting for Giannis and Greece?
I mean, he's the only one at this point for the Bucks.
Yeah.
Because it used to be Drew. Drew's not doing it anymore. I mean, Drew's not on the team.
The offseason happens first. Maybe the Bucks will end up with another player.
That's true. I think that's a great transition.
Yeah. So we did last week our Derek Jones Jr. Matrix. Eventually we'll look at more veteran bigs, but for now, it is time to talk about the 2024 NBA draft. Finally, we don't have our full big boards yet, as I mentioned, but we do have some of our favorite prospects, and I think there's some just too that we need to talk about from a Bucks perspective as well. So I think to kick us off here,
should we talk about first? I know we've done this in the past. Should we talk about? I guess this is already an assumed thing, but we both agree that the Bucks should be targeting a big with their first round pick.
I don't think necessarily after looking through the players.
Okay.
I think there's some big wings that I like just as much, if not more.
Okay, let's do it then.
So let's start with the big. So Jonathan Givony, the last day of May, so like late last week, did a new post. I think this was technically like a post stay in or go mock draft, is whatever it was. He did a new mock draft. 23 Milwaukee Bucks
did a
Pelicans.
New mock draft.
Oh, nice. I'll take ours first. There are no others. Kel'el Ware, center from Indiana, was the pick for the Bucks. And actually, he's been a pretty common mock to the Bucks. I know that Sam Vecini, who is my draft guy of choice, also mocked Kel'el Ware to the Bucks. His latest mock was a while before that. And he did it in the second round, though, which I don't think Kel'el Ware makes it to 33, but at least two different analysts now have mocked Ware to the Bucks. Would you call Ware one of your favorite prospects in the draft?
I would, especially for the Bucks, and I think that's been a consensus among those who have been trying to, forecast this draft for the Milwaukee Bucks. Because, like I mentioned up top, targeting a big, especially like one of these skilled, like these younger, rangier, massive bigs, just being able to do that is something that the Bucks really need. We've talked at length about how the succession plan for Brook Lopez needs to be discussed and addressed immediately, because one, you might have to implement that succession plan this season, and two, you're gonna have to do it eventually, because I cannot see the Bucks riding out with Brook Lopez past, I don't know, this season on an expiring, unless he wants to come back for vet min. I mean, I don't know, I don't really see it. But especially when you see a guy like Kel'el Ware, who just seems to fit that Brook Lopez mold, but is a lot younger and rangier. He is a 7-footer or near 7-footer. I think he's just like half an inch away or something. And with a +5 wingspan, I believe. He's athletic.
I saw 7'7".
I saw 7'5".
So if that's a big wingspan, plus either way. He can shoot from three. He shot a good percentage last year at Indiana. However, it was not on many attempts per game. I believe it was like 1.3 attempts per game for his collegiate career. But he shot like 42.5% from three. So that's there. Not many attempts, but a high percentage. And he just has that length, that quickness, that size, where you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy isn't projected to be a higher draft pick. And that's unfortunately something that is starting to happen. He is rising a little bit from what I've seen in mock drafts, which is unfortunate considering the Bucks first pick is at 23. Yeah. But Kel'el Ware has consistently been my dream addition to the Bucks. It would be a big gamble on Bucks culture, because the red flags with him are consistent from analyst to analyst. And it is like just his consistency, his work ethic, his physicality. Like, he's got possessions where like 6'6" college forwards who don't even weigh that much are just like going through him basically. He'll like disappear for halves at a time. Like, I think there's real motor questions in a way that we haven't seen the Bucks go for very often, frankly. I agree with you. I think you look at what he does, like his traits, his positives, and it's like, why would this guy even be available at 23? He's got real post moves too, like really like interesting. That's why I think the shooting is real, because he's built it out from a base of being able to take like spinning fadeaways in the mid-range.
Just an overall skilled player.
Yeah. Blocks a ton of shots, like leaps up, probably tries to block too many shots, but does get a lot of them. I mean,
The old
again,
Thon Maker, who, by the way, just won Finals MVP in whatever league he's playing in. Maybe he's a. We should put him on. We should put him on the. I think it was like Lebanon.
Oh, okay.
We should put him on the DJJ Matrix.
No. But I think I don't know. I mean, I would be for the pick. I did not put him as one of my guys, though, because I am concerned about, it's so resounding from everyone who does the prospect stuff. It's just like, yeah, sometimes he's just not there for a half. I think with Dame and Giannis, the Bucks are in one of the best positions to like bet on being able to get through to someone like that and getting the most out of them. But it does make me a little wary. Wary.
I was gonna say that was nice. You shouldn't have said anything. I was gonna assume you did it on purpose.
No, I didn't.
But I mean, that's obviously fair. I mean, if you go through watch the film, you can see, there's possessions where he's just not there, where he's just letting guys run through him, as you mentioned, like even smaller guys. And I do think, yes, that is something to be concerned about. However, when you're picking at 23, man, you got to go for the most upside. And I think that Kel'el Ware has the best upside and upside to fit with guys like Dame, like Giannis, like Chris, because he has that skill. He has that raw skill that you can't really usually find at this point in the draft. I think the fact that this draft is such a it's so weird. Players could go anywhere. I think that's a real benefit to the Bucks because you can have like skilled players like this fall to them at 23 because just no one knows who's going to be an actual good player in this draft. And again, Kel'el Ware could be one of those guys where, he doesn't turn out to be good. When's the last time the Bucks took a rangy big in the first round? It's my guy Thon Maker.
The one before that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, unless you want to count DJ Wilson.
No,
that's fair. I'd say he's I wouldn't consider him more
6'7" big man DJ Wilson.
He played like a big man, I'll tell you that.
I'm not going to make another comment. I'm going to get in trouble again. You're going to say, "Oh, you don't support Bucks players when they leave."
I forgot about that.
Whatever. No comment.
There's going to be a lot of times where you could see like Kel'el Ware being a great value as a screen setter. Like imagine the big screens with Giannis and Kel'el Ware, Dame and Ware. I mean, Brook Lopez and Dame immediately got chemistry this season because Brook was so good at screening for Dame. Imagine a guy who can actually be a legitimate role threat with Dame as a pick and roll partner. I mean, this guy jumps out of the gym. He's a massive lob threat. You just need to go throw it up there and he'll be able to go get it. Like we mentioned, he has that massive wingspan and he's already a near 7-footer. So just being able to get that type of player, that dynamic athleticism that we've been wanting at the center position, I think he fills the hole that we've been talking about.
Yeah, the more we talk about it, the more I can overlook that. He's also a really good athlete. And he needs to work on his actual screen setting. But again, if he overlaps with Brook Lopez for a year, that would certainly help. And Giannis can sit in on those classes too, as we've talked about in the past. Giannis could use a little bit of practice on that skill.
Teach him.
He's got the time, unfortunately. Get well soon, Thanasis. The more you look at it, also though, it's just like, it would be stupid, I think, if he fell up to 23.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
For the league.
Here's the thing. We were talking about this earlier, right? A few weeks back. We had a full episode dedicated to the Brook Lopez discussion. If you want to hear that, go back a few episodes. It's on the same feed. Wherever you're watching or listening. It's something that is really interesting is that every team seems to have a center, right? Every single team seems to have a center that's capable of doing these things, aside from the Bucks. And we were like, how can the Bucks go and get a guy like this? Because most teams that have them aren't going to trade them, and otherwise they're on big contracts. Like they're available, like they exist, they're plentiful, they're just not attainable. So how many teams are really going to be needing to draft a guy like Ware?
Not many teams have stretch fives. That's, I think, why he doesn't fall. I think because we've talked about, right, with replacing Brook over several years now.
Do you even need a stretch five?
I think everyone wants one. I think it's nice to have. And I think like his comp here from KOC's thing is Miles Turner. I think that's a pretty good comp. Like we've talked, like, okay, if you don't want to get a new stretch five in for Brook Lopez, it's Miles Turner or it's like Victor Wembanyama or Chet Holmgren. There's just not many of these guys who are consistent floor spacers. I would be a little surprised, and I am a little concerned.
Our guy, Al Horford.
Yeah, well, yeah, hot piss himself. KP too, I suppose. But like again, these are hard players to get. I mean, these are prize players. I'm a little worried the pick swap does the Bucks in, and the Pelicans would take him at 21 because I think
they got their own stretch. Oh, he's a free agent. I was going to say
Valanciunas is free agent and just old anyway. And I think Ware would be a pretty good fit with Zion as a 4-5. I kind of hope Filipowski goes before to like again just because I agree with your point on centers, and that's why like I mentioned up top, Klingon I think could fall a little bit. I hope Filipowski goes like around end of Lotto just to again take another one of those center spots, and then I think you get down to the Bucks range guys are where I kind of like Misi. We'll probably talk about. Would love if Edey went earlier, and I'll say this: I don't think we have to do a whole Edey thing. I look at Edey, I look at Klingon, and I'm like, why would I take Klingon at like 4 if I could get Edey at 20? I don't think Klingon's going to be a much better NBA player.
I don't really think so either.
I think the minutes thing is concerning, and the thing about Edey, he played a ton at that size. Like this is not Taco Fall where he can't get up and down the floor, and he tested well athletically too.
Fall? What's he up to?
A minor league of competition. I think, and I know Wisconsin fans hate him. I get it. I'm not overly fond of him. I do think if he goes like in the 20s, that's a good pick. I think that's an NBA player. Like I think he's just he moves well enough. I don't think to be completely played off the floor, and I think more than any big in this class. Like I trust him to be able to score in the post against a sort of mismatch way more than any other big in this class. He's just so big. If there's a 6'6" guy on him, he's probably scoring, dude. He's huge.
He is huge.
He's 7'3".
With like an 8-foot wingspan or something.
It's 7'10" and a half, and he showed that he can do it. Like I don't know, man. I don't buy the 3-point shooting at all.
By the way,
that makes sense. It's a good league. They give you cars and phones to play there. It's
wait,
really
actually?
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't Juice playing there?
There's a reason a lot of guys have gone to play in Puerto Rico. They really take care of the players who go over there.
Good for them.
Yeah, there's some former Herd guys who have done it, and they love it. But Edey, I think, is really. I don't like him as a Bucks fit, but I would almost call him one of my guys at this point in the draft, just on the assumption that he's going to go like 18 picks later than Klingon, who I just don't think is a superior player.
Yeah, but here's the thing with Edey is what happens when he's pulled out, right?
Yeah, but I think that's also a thing for Klingon. Which is why
I don't disagree. I'm talking more in the context of the Bucks.
For sure.
Because that's one of the issues we've had with Brook Lopez.
You'd have to play him like Brook defensively. It's a very,
which is
like,
kind of the issue.
Yeah, if you want to get away from that, he's not a good pick.
That's why. No, I agree with you in terms of like the context with him and Klingon. I'm just saying from a Bucks perspective, I don't think he should be a guy.
No.
Because
I think there's some really
he's basically
fun
Brook Lopez again, except
but without the spacing.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably not going to be as good of a defender, but he's just so big that it's just like it's going to be difficult. I think it takes time to get to where Brook is defensively, of course, but
and the durability of Brook, I guess Edey also has, because Brook. One thing that we haven't really touched on that much is Brook is an Iron Man.
He's played a bunch.
He's played so many games.
Edey missed one game in his career, and it was for an illness. Like literally has never been actually, knock on wood again, has never been actually hurt and at that size. I mean, that's
crazy.
And the amount of minutes, like the tournament, he played every minute. Like I found his stamina one of the most impressive things about him. I think he's going to be a good NBA player. I think he's being underrated right now. I think some of these guys in like the lotto, it's just like, let's just take a swing. I don't know, man. Like Dillingham top 5, I don't get it at all.
Should we talk about a guy you had mentioned in Misi?
Yeah, I'll talk about Misi a little bit. He's like fringe. This is really like, if you are a firm believer, the Bucks don't need Yves Misi from Baylor. If you're a firm believer in the concept we discussed, that the Bucks don't need a shooting big, that an athletic big can be even better, right? I mean, obviously, you'd love an athletic big who can shoot, which is sort of where. But if you're like, you know what, I want the lively kind of player, I think then Misi is your proof of concept. I think if you think the Bucks need a stretch five, then don't even know if you would take him at 23. But super athletic, great frame at
19.
nearly 6'11", 7'2" wingspan, 19 years old.
By the way, Ware is like 20. I don't think we talked about that.
Yeah, he transferred once. He's a little bit older. Misi's got pretty good hands. Like, he can finish well. He's a good rebounder. He's a good screener. Like, I don't think he projects to ever be a, offensive hub kind of player. But I do think this is a guy I look at and go, yeah, right away, if he's in a situation anything close to lively, he could be that kind of player who's like disrupting shots at the rim, running the floor, dunking in open space. Like, he has those traits for sure. He's young, bad free throw shooter, not a great passer. Again, a simple game, but I think he's going to be good at it right away.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who jumped out at me when looking at him was Capella.
Yeah.
He's bigger than Capella for sure. He's more athletic than current day Clint Capella. But just that skill set, I might even be like undervaluing Clint Capella right now, but because he's just so polished on the defensive end, but Misi is not. I mean, you get a lot 19. Of these. Yeah, exactly. He's 19 years old. Imagine being like a polished defender in the NBA at 19 years old. It just imagine doing anything at an elite level at 19 years old.
I think his front court mate too. He has a little Okongu in him. I could see him being switchable sometime. Misi. He's got a lot to prove. I don't think the Bucks will take him, but I'd be fascinated if they did.
Yeah, I would be fascinated too. I mean, it's a very not Bucksy pick at all. Like, even the latest round of Bucks picks, when you look at guys like Marjan, Ajax, Chris Livingston, he doesn't even fit that mold that well, because those guys had the tools. Like Chris Livingston, for example. Like, you can look at a guy like CL and say, oh, this guy can be a good shooter. This guy can do a lot of things. I mean, look at that Utah game. I'm just placating to Utah. But it's... I
would take CL first overall in this draft.
I know you would.
I wouldn't really.
I mean, how high do you think CL goes in this draft? He might be a first round pick in this draft.
Yeah, there's a pretty good shot. I mean, once you're getting down to like there's just so much projection. Like, Ryan Dunn is a popular Bucks second round pick, and it's just like great defender who probably never does anything offensively. It's just like, would you really want to take that player with a top 33 pick? Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe just for the flyer. I'm not excited about it, though.
No.
CL would have a chance to be a first-round pick in this draft.
No, that's fair. But the thing about Misi is, I guess I know we had talked about it with Ware earlier, but in terms of like maybe being a little jumpy on the defensive end, I think Misi's worse. At that, I mean... But the thing is just defense. That's the thing with him, is he comes in and projects to be like a guy who will just unlock a level of defense for the Milwaukee Bucks just because of his versatility, his quickness, just
he can rotate out. Like, exactly. He can co-cover a shooter. He could, I think, eventually be a true switchable big, but maybe not right away. I think it'll take him a little time, but I think he could get there.
He definitely could. I mean, that's the upside with him, and it's a very high upside. So I think he's a Bucksy pick in that regard, and that they want to be a defensive first team. But in terms of like the actual play style, maybe not. Yeah. I wouldn't be upset with it.
No. I like him a lot as a prospect. Like, I think there's a very low chance that 3 years from now you're like, what does this guy do? Like, I think you know what he does pretty much right away.
Yves Misi is a cool name.
Yves Misi. I don't know what accent that was.
Is it trying to be French?
It was, but it wasn't even close. It was like it was like a mafia French. I don't know where that was. I don't know what that. It was almost a little Russian in there too. It was like, it ended up being no accent because I went like 3 different ways. It was just like a deeper version of my
imagine voice. Europe, but all of it.
Yeah, all of it rolled up into one. I brought the East and the West together. Geopolitic tie at it again. Okay, I want to get to I haven't talked about my favorite guy yet.
Oh, let's do it. I'm very excited to hear who your favorite guy is.
I liked this player a lot when I watched him in the tournament, and now I only like him more. And I'm not sure he will get there, but it's in the range. Really a big Tristan da Silva guy. like, and he's not a big, but he is one of those like 4 next to Giannis at the 5 players. And I just think he does so many things well. He's a very good shooter, nearly 40% on nearly 5 attempts per game with Colorado, a good finisher, a creative passer, a transition weapon, which I really think the Bucks could use some more transition juice. I think da Silva helps them with that a lot. I think he's a good switchable defender. He is 23. He is, to me, like kind of wing Malcolm Brogdon, I think with less probably injury concerns. But sign me up for that. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I'm fine if the Bucks want to continue drafting these like young players with high upside, but you're also trying to win now. Like we talked about with Misi, he might not be ready for real playoff minutes year 1. Maybe he is, but maybe not. I think da Silva is ready to come in and play a real role on a good team right away. 6'8" with a 6'10" wingspan. He's got real size. He's not a super athlete, but I think he is a very good fit to back up Giannis and play alongside Giannis at the 4.
I agree with what you said. I think he would be a good fit with Giannis on this team. I mean, just the athleticism is something that, I don't know, after all of our conversations we've had during the season and in the offseason thus far, I think I've just been targeting athleticism so much that I look at a guy like da Silva and I'm like, they could do better. Purely
they could athletically, for sure.
Because that's the weak spot, right? With him is just being able, like, you're not going to just like throw off the backboard lobs to this guy in transition or anything. Like,
no, he might throw them.
That's the thing, though. He has that playmaking ability where I've also talked about this is what happens when he gets the ball when teams are throwing everyone at Giannis and Dave. He is able to do something with that, right? He is able to attack the closeout. You would be comfortable with him right away being like your quaternary playmaker.
Yep.
Right?
Like, I agree. I think I look at him and I go, he knows how to play basketball right now. And that sounds dumb, but I don't, like, a lot of prospects in this draft, I think don't. And they're rising up to the first round because like, there's just not the guys who have it all. Like if this guy was 19 and springier, he's probably going number 1 easily in this class because it's a weak class. He's not. So he's here at, I think 19 at KOC's big board. Let me see. What did Gavoni put him? He's like a pretty popular late teens pick, so it'd be a little bit of a slide for him, but I like him a lot.
No, and
17 of the Lakers was Gavoni. That's been kind of popular. That makes sense.
That's where Bronny's going.
That's true. Or 22 to the Suns.
Do you think Bronny's not a chance he goes 17? Not a chance.
I'd be surprised, but not shocked, and I think 22 to the Suns is a real possibility because they hate the draft. Or they'll trade down, and take him at like 30.
Yeah. Imagine if the Bucks take Bronny at 33.
That would be irresponsible.
Why do you say that? You don't want some defenders? You don't want a guard defender?
Some herd defenders?
I think I do think Bronny could make it as a defender in the NBA.
I don't.
I think he has the tools.
I mean, just because he's a 6'2" athlete?
I could see him being like a Pat Bev guy.
We're a long way from that.
We are, but I think he could.
Is he? So you're gonna draft him. He's gonna do 3 years in Russia and Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavian countries, and then he's gonna come back and be a good defender. Yeah, I know. I did it again. I couldn't remember. I don't know where Yugoslavia came from. I couldn't remember the other places Pat Bev. He's played in like 3 different places. Yeah, maybe he played in Turkey. I don't even know if he played in the former Yugoslavian countries, but he shouldn't really be. I get why he is, of course, but he's not as a prospect in these conversations.
No, I definitely see him as like a late second rounder though.
Sure,
but da Silva, I understand why he's your guy. I did not see him being your guy in this draft.
That's my guy. Really like him.
Is he your Marjan from like 2 years ago?
No, because I feel like that's different because that's still a projection. Like, I think you're almost more excited about the projection guy.
Yeah.
I don't have a good comp for him from draft guys that we've covered a lot. I'm trying to think of who I liked last year. I didn't really do as much because we didn't know where they were going to pick. The year before, I feel like I liked more projects that year too. So, I don't know if I have a good comp. I would just feel really good if they picked him that he's going to be productive.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see, right? Like a guy who can come in and contribute right away. Like look at these title winners or
Yeah.
teams who have made the finals recently. They've had rookies be solid contributors for them. I mean, this year for the Mavs, you've got Lively, you've got other young guys, but Lively, a big rookie who's able to do that. Last year, Christian Brown, a guy who can come in,
Played in the finals
as a rookie. He was a rookie last year, right? I'm not going insane.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
So you have these guys who are able to come in and make an impact even during their rookie year, and Tristan da Silva could be a guy who's able to come in and immediately make an impact. Like imagine him in boss man's minutes.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm thinking of, and I'm like, okay, they look a lot better with that happening. A much better, just like the way he plays within a team construct, I really like. Like I think he's just a very creative and savvy player that would look great on this team with Giannis, Dame, and Chris Middleton. I think they would like playing with him a lot too.
I think so too. I think the defense is more of like a intelligence thing with him.
Yeah.
In terms of being a team defender more than an individual defender. And again, maybe that's something that the Bucks need to value more than strong individual defenders.
Well, and like, doesn't have the athleticism certainly of a Derrick Jones Jr., but 6'8" with a 6'10" wingspan does help you a lot. That even if he gets cross-matched onto a good player, like even if he gets beat a little bit, like with that kind of size and frame, like he's still going to be able to do something about it. So that part, if he was like 6'6" with a 6'7" wingspan, I'm not as excited. The 6'10" wingspan to me, that's like, okay, that plays. Like I think it's hard to be that smart and just be like useless on either end with that size and frame.
For sure. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with that size, right? Like at some point that just matters more.
Yeah.
And we've seen that time and time again in the NBA. Like think about a guy who's just massive and it just works out. Like Thon Maker at times.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to Thon. I can't quit Thon, man.
You can't. You really can't. It's kind of scary.
I mean, he's who's that guy that you were really enamored with? Who's like Mike James? Is he?
Oh yeah, Mike James. I think you've taken Thon a lot farther than I ever took Mike James, but I see your point.
I'm just trying to make myself feel better.
That's okay.
Like, he was not the best player for the Milwaukee Bucks, to say the least. But
Correct.
He got away with a lot just because he was big.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think the Bobby Clintman is a similar size and a better athlete, but I'm just like, is he going to be ready to play real basketball for the Milwaukee Bucks this season? I think probably not. Maybe it all works out. But I'm just not as interested in a player like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think there's one more big man that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Deron Holmes from Dayton.
Yep. Unfortunately, there is some news about him, though.
What's the news?
The news is, let me pull it up, that he has canceled his remaining pre-draft workouts.
Yeah, he's got a promise. He thinks.
But let's talk about him anyway.
Gavoni mocked him at 28. His promise could be into the first round. He could still be in play.
His promise could be the Bucks. I mean, we've seen that in years past. I mean, Chris Livingston told teams not to draft him, or Rich Paul, excuse me, on behalf of Chris Livingston, told him, not just CL calling up to James Jones saying,
don't do it.
No.
James Jones said, "Do I even have a pick? Bet. Don't worry about it. I'm not planning on drafting anyone, CL." I think Holmes. He is, if you're really worried about the wear kind of attitude, approach to the game, consistency, I think Holmes is probably your logical favorite center then for the Bucks to take because he has shown a bit of the shooting. I would say not as much as Ware, kind of 2 slower seasons and then 38% from 3 this last year. He's grown over his college career, so you'll see him listed at 6'8", but I've read he's like a legit 6'10" now. I'll pull up the combine data after I'm done talking to verify that, but I think that helps a lot too. I don't think he kind of moved past the tweener size into real center size. Athletic, motor, screen setter. I think there's a lot to like about Holmes. I don't see many huge downsides with him either. He's 21. I guess that's one of them. He's a little bit older, but I think his athleticism, his shooting touch, it wouldn't surprise me if he went before 23, but he's mocked consistently late first, so could be an option for them there.
Yeah, at the combine measured 6'8", 8.75 inches.
Okay, so
shoes.
not 6'10", but 6'10" with shoes then.
Yeah, 7'1" wingspan though.
Yeah, so again, that almost not like height doesn't matter, but that's pretty important.
Yeah, you gotta have size to weaponize it.
That's what bigger than Clint Capella.
Yeah, Clint Capella is like the tallest 6'8" of all time.
Dwight Howard.
What?
Dwight Howard's like 6'8". Isn't that crazy?
That can't be true.
I'm pretty positive. Also, just a bonkers thing.
6'10".
Height without shoes. Listed or measured?
Listed.
Dwight Howard, NBA Draft Combine.
They probably grew since this combine.
Maybe.
I mean, played for like 20 years.
Well, he wasn't growing for a lot of them. He was measured at 6'9" without shoes.
He came out of high school, man. He was still growing.
Okay. I think he was shorter than a lot of people think. Zach Edey without shoes measured at 7'3"3/4. He's going to be playing at 7'5". That's insane.
That's Wemby height, man.
It literally is.
I mean, the first Wemby Edey is going to be fun because Wemby's just going to.
I don't know, man. They both have advantages there.
I think he's going to cross him up on the perimeter. He's going to do that Giannis did for Nuggets.
If Edey's on the perimeter, that's somebody else's fault. That's not. You can't ask Edey to go hang with Wemby on the perimeter.
I mean, if Wemby's on the perimeter, what are you just going to stash Edey somewhere else?
Yes, 100% I am. I'm not going to say, go get him, big fella. I'm just going to, that cross match would be a problem for Wemby too. I know he has the reach to get up and block a shot, but like, he's not going to enjoy Edey posting him up on the other end.
Yeah. But Holmes, I mean, like, do you buy like the last year of his 3-point shooting over like the previous two?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it is a massive leap in terms of his 3-point shooting.
It's a big leap. Let me pull up.
26.9 over his first two and then 43.6% on quadruple the attempts. That's what KLC wrote. So I'm assuming it's true.
I'm pulling up the full. I want to see his free throw percentages too. But I mean, like, the quadruple the attempts to me speaks to it being more real. I mean, he took, like, I would throw out the first 2 years. It's 26 total threes his first 2 seasons and then 83 last year. So the sample size is dramatically bigger that he can shoot. His overall percentage is nearly 36%. So again, dragged down by those first 2 years, but he just like wasn't doing it. He also improved to 71% from free throw, nearly 9 attempts per. He got to the line a bunch with Dayton, which I think is good news for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the upside there. I mean, he projects to be like just a great defensive player, and especially with a team like the Bucks, I think you wouldn't want him playing necessarily the 5 all the time with the Bucks just because of the size.
I think next to Giannis helps him there.
Giannis helps him a lot there. And maybe Brooke if there's 1 year of an overlap. But just being able to come in, do that. I mean, he's being undersized 5, but I think he could be effective in that role.
I think some of the statistical profile is really good here. A plus assist to turnover ratio for a big on a not great team, I think is really good. 2.6 assists to 2.2 turnovers per game. Also more blocks than fouls per game. It was close, but still. Like, I think that's very good as well. That shows he was able to impact the game without staying in foul trouble. Just 2 fouls per game despite playing 32 and a half minutes. He's played a bunch too, so like conditioning is a good sign. 32.5 minutes per game over 3 like heavy games, college seasons. He's played more than 100 games at the NCAA level, 102. I think there's just a lot to like. I think a good, solid, big, I think he will be useful right away. I think the shooting, like even if it's not there right away, like certainly projects to me to be a shooter. Like I don't think he will not end up being a shooter at all in the NBA level, even if his year 1 is a little uneven.
I could see him getting there for sure. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a little nervous about it. I don't know what it is. I would be
happy with Holmes at 20. I'd be about as happy with him as I would be with Ware.
I think I'd be much happier with Ware.
I think that's going to be the popular consensus.
Okay.
But I see why. I see why.
I think outside the box.
I'm not saying it's a normie pick.
I think that's a popular pick, but I think what's right isn't that.
Well, yeah, I think that's true.
You say that's the normie pick?
No, I'm not. I'm saying it's not that. I'm saying it makes sense, but I personally disagree. I like Holmes a little better.
Okay. Ties on another plane of existence.
I'm on the plane of existence that goes, is Ware going to be there for enough of the games for Doc to play him consistently?
Is he going to play a guy like Holmes? I mean,
I'm saying, like, it feels like Holmes has less concern that he's just going to, like, space out for half a game.
That's fair. I do, just to get back to this, I didn't mention this when we talked about Ware, but in terms of, like, spacing out, I think Giannis and Chris will not let that happen.
And Dame. I think it's 3 great players to have. You hope so, for sure. And obviously there's none of those guys at Indiana. And
they're guys who are going to benefit a lot from playing with Kello Ware and going to want to get the best out of him.
100%. I think it's a good risk to take for the Bucks. I just think it is a risk that exists, whereas it's not for most of the other guys we talk about.
That's fair.
I would not be dissatisfied at all with Kello Ware. Like, I think it's a great swing. And again, you get another pick at 33 to try and go for these other needs. Although,
try to get a guy like Oso Ighodaro.
The more I look at 33, I do wonder if they end up trading that pick if they get a player they like at 23. Because I don't love the prospects.
Or if bigs are starting to come off the board, do you package both and move up?
Yeah, that's interesting.
To get a game
How about this? This is a spot I hear a lot of mocks when I listen to the pods about them. They're like, "Oh, I don't like any of the players here for this team." Is 23 and 33 for 19 too rich?
I don't think so at all.
Maybe. Or is that fair?
Oh, I thought you were saying for the
too rich of a price. No, for the Bucks to give up.
Maybe
to the Raptors if they're just looking to 4 spots for a top second pick. But it's such a weird draft.
I think the Raptors would do that in a heartbeat. But
yeah,
I think you could move up a little more than 19. I think you can get up to like maybe. I don't think you get a lottery pick.
Yeah, no,
I think you can get to. I don't know, like
18 Orlando. Does Orlando want 2 more prospects? 17 Lakers, so. Same question. I mean, the interesting one here, if Philly hasn't done their big move yet, like if Philly doesn't like someone at 16, would they rather? But then you have to take the players right away. I don't know if they would want to have 2 rookies to trade instead of 1.
Yeah.
And I think Portland at 14 is a little too rich. I'd be surprised if Miami did it at 15. Yeah, I don't know.
I think
maybe you get something back too. Does Toronto have like a second you could trade down to as simultaneously? Not really. Maybe you get a future pick back from Toronto too.
Maybe you get the first round pick.
They have 31, so that's higher. That doesn't work.
They're eager to give away their first round picks always. So
they're big believers in themselves. That's for sure. But that's just a team where I could see them being on the board at 19. Like, we don't love our options here.
Yeah. That's fair.
Or maybe someone really good falls, and it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
I do think it's a little tough to figure out the right trade up.
Fallen to 23 in the draft. Can you imagine?
Yeah, there would be a lot of trades up in that case, I think.
Yeah.
I like Sarr a lot. I mean, he's on my like prospects list. I've seen, like, Vicini says he has no grade 1 or 2 players. Like, he has an overall grading system, not per draft, and like none of these guys are in either of the top 2. I think Sarr is a very good prospect. I think just the floor is the issue. Like, he just might not be good offensively, which is a big issue. I kind of think he'll figure it out.
I think he'll figure it out for sure.
His athleticism, what he can do already,
are there.
Yeah.
It just takes like the right team, and he could be a monster.
Yeah. How do you feel about Buzelis? Oh, I kind of like him.
Okay, say more.
To me, he's like the much less polished but much more upside version of da Silva. Like, that frame moves well. I think projects as a shooter more than he has been, but I can't hold Ignite percentages against guys because the team's just such a nobody. Yeah, it's just nobody was doing anything for those guys. But I see why he's mocked pretty high, and I think he might struggle year 1, but I think he's going to be a good NBA player.
Yeah, it's just the shooting is just horrific last season.
I think it's going to be there.
I think it projects to be there. Like, it looks good when he shoots.
Yeah,
it just never went.
No, that I like Tyler Smith on Ignite a lot. He's really raw defensively. He would be an interesting Bucks pick. I'd be pretty surprised if they did it, but he moves really well for 6'10". His shot actually went in on Ignite, which is crazy. And it looks good too. But defensively, he's just a big question mark. But I think that pick would be fun.
Yeah, last year you can get a guy from the Ignite.
Yeah.
Because it does not exist anymore.
It is gone. It is gone.
R.I.P.
I like Connect a lot.
Sure.
You don't like Connect?
I think he's fine.
I think in this draft he stands out.
I think he is good. He's good in this draft for sure. I think here's the thing. It's just I don't know. Like it's the defense, right?
I think he'll be okay. He's very athletic. He's very athletic. He's got good size. I think he'll be okay.
Does he?
He's 6'8".
He's 6'5".
Hold on. This is hand size. Am I looking at the wrong source here?
I don't know.
Oh no, I'm still scrolling down. 6'5" and a quarter. Yeah, without shoes. So he probably plays at like 6'7".
What is he wearing? Heels out there?
I think he had an inch and a half. At least an inch for shoes.
Yeah.
These are big shoes.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the wingspan on him?
I don't think it's crazy. Let's see.
No,
wingspan
6'9".
6'9". Yeah, 6'9".
He's a good athlete. I think he'll be all right defensively.
We disagree, but that's okay. He's not going to be a Bucks guy.
No, I mean he doesn't do what they need. I see.
And no, I'm thinking he's gonna go way before.
He's gonna be gone. Yeah, I think he could. I wouldn't love the pick. I could see him 5 to Detroit, and I would understand the logic. I would understand the logic behind it.
I guess, yeah, they do need him.
They can't take a non-shooter, dude. They just can't. And there's not many shooters. Like it's such a tough spot for them.
Isn't Joe Harris still on their team?
I don't know if Joe Harris is still going to be in the league.
Is Joe Harris alive?
That's a fraught question. I would prefer Reed Shepherd for them by a lot. I like Reed Shepherd, but do you like Shepherd? I didn't like him, and then I kind of came around on him.
I mean, it's fine.
I feel like you're not ready. I feel like I'm into this draft as its own class. I feel like you're still applying overall.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about
I feel like you're like, I wouldn't want Reed Shepherd in the top 10. And it's like in this class, that's just where you have to be.
Yeah. Which is just insane.
I'll tell you what, I hate Jared McCain.
Do you? I haven't done a lot of looking at him. Just
Seth Curry is the comp everyone says. And why would you ever take that player in the lottery?
Hey, whenever you
take that player in the lottery?
Whenever you can use a top 10 pick on Seth Curry, you got to.
I mean, I know they're not the exact same player. I'm good on that. Thank you very much.
What about Cody Williams? Jalen's younger brother.
He, to me, is one of these guys where it's just like, how much do you want to project? Because I don't think it's really all there right now. I get it. And I would be a little surprised if he made it past 12, which is OKC. Given the obvious there, but I think he's a fine late lotto pick in this class. I don't love him as a prospect just because I'm like, what does he do really well right now?
It's a good question.
He shot pretty well from 3 on less than 2 attempts per game.
And minus
assist turnover ratio. Yeah, he's going to turn 20 this next year, I think.
Yeah, that's young.
So he's young. He's young, but he's not.
There's not like 18-year-olds in this draft.
I think there's a couple, but there's not many. Yeah. Solon from France is 20. I like him enough.
No.
Again, he's kind of like just pretty raw player. Don't like Collier very much. I hope a lot of these guys go before the Bucks are up. Or Collier, excuse me. The French got to me.
Yeah.
Is there anyone we haven't talked about who you still really like?
Oso.
Do you really like Oso in the second round?
No, not really.
I like Kolek, legitimately.
Not for the Bucks.
If Kolek was there at 33, I think that's a fine pick.
I think that is a good pick for the Bucks. I will obviously want Oso to be like a good pick.
Yeah.
I just don't think he really fits in with the Bucks. He's like a what's the jack of all trades, master of none type guy. Except he's definitely not a master at putting the ball in the basket outside of the restricted area. And the paint.
Man, Did I miss him, or is he just not on KOC's board?
I think he is on KOC.
Oh, he's 37. I missed him. I got to Bronny James. I was like, whoa. What are we doing
You have
here?
an anti-Bronny agenda.
I don't think he's good. That's the agenda, which I think is a fair take. And again, I'm not mad at everything. I get why with this class especially there's so much hype around him, but I'm just not really interested in talking about him as a player.
Fair enough. I do think here, aside from just the obvious, like, oh my God, he's LeBron's kid, I do think it is insanely cool that we have a guy who made third team All NBA this year, and his kid is probably going to be in the league.
Yeah.
Well. Like, that's insane.
Oh, I think he's going to be in the league. No question.
I just think it's really cool.
It is cool.
He sounds so sarcastic.
I'm not sarcastic. That's cool. Baseball fans are like, whatever. We've seen this. We've played together for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Griffey's.
Yeah.
That
I think it's happened otherwise, too.
But I think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
You just sound so sarcastic.
It's a cool thing. I just don't have many more thoughts on it.
Are you doing this on purpose?
No. I can't get myself any more fired up than that.
I don't know. I just think it's cool.
I do too. You have to stop. I saw Mark Sears mock to the Bucks in the second round and won, and that's kind of fun. Mark Sears. I will say there is a typo on the Ringer draft guide that lists him as a 6'10" and a third point guard. If he was 6'10", he would go a lot with a 6'2" wingspan, which would actually be very funny to watch.
That's the ultimate Desmond Bain, man. Can you imagine being 6'10" with a 6'2" wingspan?
I feel like you would just that's terminal.
That's T-Rex.
I don't think you would be alive.
I don't think you can play basketball.
No, you probably couldn't dribble. You probably wouldn't be able to get the ball high enough. Your fulcrum wouldn't go far enough.
That's just crazy.
I don't like the Brunson comp that's thrown around just because I think that's such an outlier result for a player of that size. But as a gritty, good shooting backup point guard, I see the vision. I don't love backup point guard as a need for the Bucks. I would like to let Ty try out or bring in one of these veteran guys we talked about.
Exactly.
But if Kolek or Sears is there and there's not another player on the board, I don't hate taking one either.
That's fair. I agree that they need to leverage wing/big depth before guards, because it's more often than not you can get a guard on the just a vet min versus can you get a good wing or a good big who projects to be a good member of your team going forward on the open market.
100%. Especially when the Bucks, you're really looking for just a defensive guy to play a little bit when you know Dame's going to log a lot of minutes.
No, I just keep coming back to Ware, man. I think he's my guy.
How do you feel about Filipowski?
Not great.
I don't like him for the Bucks that much, but I actually do think him and Giannis would be a pretty fun combo.
He's just not big enough. I think he has a negative wingspan. He
does, but it's a third of an inch. His height is 6'10.8. His wingspan is 6'10.5. I'm going to start double checking these because I feel like some of these sources have done me wrong. Where do you even get 0.3 from in the first place?
So when you use a measuring tape, there are subdivisions.
Yeah, I know. But he is 6'10 and 3/4 according to the NBA Combine data, which is not 6'10 and a third. Or 0.3 is not even a third. It's whatever, 0.3. Why would you use 3? You can't use decimal with height. It's out of 12. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you can have decimals from 12.
You can, but it's confusing. Why would you not just put the exact inches?
They are putting the exact inches.
No, they're not.
What did you say? 6'10 and 3/4?
The Ringer put 6'10.8.
Okay, and
I think that's just confusing.
It's measured at 6'10 and 3/4?
Yes.
Yeah, that's 0.75 of an inch, which rounds to 0.8.
Why would you round when you could just put what the actual NBA puts out and be exact? It's just an extra step they're doing for no reason.
I think it's fine.
I mean, it ended up with their system, but right above him, Trenton Flowers, 6'6.5". Oh no, it's 6'6.5". Wait, what?
That's a half an inch. Yeah.
Oh, they forgot the inch mark on Filipowski. I'm just saying, however they do it, ended up with Mark Sears being 6'10", so I'm right. But yeah, he is 6'10" and a half wing. So he has a slight negative wingspan, but he's also 6'10" for Filipowski.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, I don't know. I just don't see it, right?
Yeah, it's not the skill set we're looking for. He's like a dribble, pass, shoot big.
He's not like, yeah, exactly. Like, he's more of an offensive big than a defensive big. And I think you need to prioritize a defensive big.
I have no idea what he looks like at the NBA level.
Neither
I cannot
do
think of a good
and that's a
comp for
big
him.
issue. Oh my God. One of his traits that the KOC has listed is got that dog in him. I think that's a red flag.
He put that for half the guys.
KOC
like,
washed?
Yes. I mean, didn't he have the Pistons guy who's out of the league now as number one with a bullet? Yeah. I liked Hayes too, but this isn't my job.
Hey, we all have misses, but that's a big miss. But
Jacoby Walter has that dog in him, apparently. It's just like a guy who shoots a bunch of pull-up twos. Devin Carter's got that dog in him. Dalton Connect has clutch gene.
Oh.
Cody Williams only has feel for the game.
That's it.
That's all. Reed Shepard has that dog in him. The 6 foot 1.8 inch guard from Kentucky. Ron Holland's got that dog in him.
Everyone's got that dog in him.
Stephon Castle has that dog in him.
For me,
Stephon Castle's pretty. Oh, go ahead on Filipowski.
For me, Filipowski just projects as more of a college type player than an NBA type player.
I can't believe he never played for Wisconsin.
He seems like a guy who would, right? But also Duke makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean he's too tall. That's why if he was 6'8", he would.
He's too good of a prospect to play for the Virgins.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
isn't it the thing? Correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently the problem with the Badgers is they don't spend like NIL money.
I've heard mixed reports on that, and I don't know enough to speak on it.
I think that'd be really
something
funny
I will never say. Something I will never say about geopolitics. I'm not willing to go out on a limb to talk about Wisconsin's NIL spending, but when it comes to global issues, I will.
I just feel like Filipowski he seems like a guy who would thrive at the college level because he's a guy who his defensive acumen is like just being able to be in the right spots, take a good charge and stuff like that. Does that
I guess translate? Is he Şengün? Is he like a Şengün who's not strong enough?
I think Şengün's way better on the offensive end.
Yeah.
Like leaps and bounds better.
That's true. Yeah, less assists than I thought for Filipowski. I agree. No. He might not end up being a good NBA player.
I do not see it.
I hope he goes in like the late lotto, which I've seen him mock there.
I hope the Raptors take him.
That'd be good.
They got that Dick Filipowski pick and roll for 10 years.
Dick Phillip. That's like the shorthand. How do you feel about Chomsky Ulrich?
I think he's okay. I think there's what you want to do.
I can't believe it. This is Thon 2.0. I can't believe you're not all about him.
Here's the thing. I am all about him.
Okay.
Because he has the ability to just be anything.
Yeah.
He can
2.7 blocks, 38% from three,
exactly.
13-9. Wow.
Exactly. Massive wingspan as well. I mean, he's young. Yep. He's 18 years old. Yep. I mean, he's just raw beyond belief. But what if you can mold him into like what's
Thon? He could be second year Thon someday.
What if he was the idealized version of Thon Maker?
I think he could be. That's his upside. I think if he's there at 33, I would take him at 33, no question.
Yeah,
I would not take him. I don't know if I'd take him at 23.
23 is tough. You know what? I wouldn't be mad at it.
I'd be a little mad at it because it's like
I think it means that
you have Damian Lillard on the roster.
That's the thing. I think if you take him at 23, Brooks staying.
Yeah, I would certainly hope so. I don't think you should start Ulrich at center.
I think what could he be? He could be like Giannis if you wanted to.
I think he's more of a tree big.
I was going to say more
his upside is like what, Chet?
I think his upside's like KD.
I don't know about that.
I think he could be. Why not?
I mean, does he have any self-creation right now? A little bit? I don't know.
But he could? That's the thing. It could be it's a mystery box.
No, I think KD's a little... I mean, even Chet's a really high bar, but... Like rookie Chet is what I meant.
So the only Chet we've seen.
Yeah, but assuming Chet, I don't think he's going to be as good someday as Chet will be. Like I think Chet was a good NBA player this year. Yeah. No. Like I think Chet eventually is going to be better than this. I don't know. I don't like putting too high of a bar on the super raw guys. Obviously, it worked out with Giannis, but
yeah. Hey, if it worked out once, it can happen again.
It can.
What if he's just like? I can't even think of a good comp. I think I keep coming back to Thon. You're right. Like the idealized version.
I put him as the comp on my board, and I felt bad about it, but I was like, he makes so much sense.
What KOC? It says he's Nick Claxton. I don't see that at all.
No. Maybe he means like right now, but I don't think he could be Nick Claxton right now.
I think Nick Claxton is way better right now.
Yeah. I don't see long-term Claxton. I mean, Ulrich already is probably a better three-point shooter than Claxton's been at any level.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's just a straight. Everyone's afraid to make the Thon comp.
Everyone's afraid to talk about Thon. I'm never afraid to talk about Thon. I'll talk about Thon all day. We did a whole podcast on the butterfly effect of Thon Maker's trade request.
That was a fun pod.
Was that 2 years ago now? You can find it. Just search it up.
I think, was it Vicini who gave the Bucks Daddy here? Daddy?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Vicini's pulled up.
I don't anymore, but I'm pretty positive somebody did, and it's not. KOC gave them Holmes in his latest, which was a while ago now. But I haven't looked into Daddy much. He's just like a little too raw for me. 6'8" height, 6'8" wingspan. Don't love that. Just didn't, these guys in Europe, they just don't get to show that much most of the time. And that's the case with him too. He's not even 19, so he's young, but I don't like the idea of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, there's massive upside there potentially, but it's like,
just don't know if he's ever going to play enough.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he reminds me of, man, I had a good comp for him when I was looking at it. Oh, man. I'm not going to think of it in time. This is embarrassing. I should have written it down.
Yeah. How do you feel about Castle? I feel like he's one of the most divisive. Him and Dillingham feel like the two most divisive prospects.
I think Castle. You said Castle, right?
Yeah, Castle first.
I think Castle could be like, he's a good big guard, right?
Yeah.
Like that's always a good size, like or a good player to have, like a big guard. I think it's a valuable skill, like a player archetype.
Yeah.
He's got that dog in him.
I think the KOC's first comp is actually what concerns me about him.
Faults?
Yeah.
I don't think he's faults. And I like faults.
I think he could be if he never gets the shot.
But the thing is, he won't be like afraid to shoot. Not that Fultz is right now, anyway. But
he doesn't. He'll shoot twos, which helps. But 26% from three on low volume, like, just has not shot at all. I think he's a good player. Like three, I think is a little rich, just because it's like a non-shooting point guard is only going to be so valuable.
I think he could be a good shooter in the NBA.
He could be.
Like, there's obviously,
if he is, he'll be really good. So that's why it makes sense.
That's the upside there. Like, he can be a good shooter. The tools are there for him to be a good shooter.
To be clear, I think the comparison is to current Fultz. Prospect Fultz way better.
Yeah,
Prospect Fultz was like Castle who shot. Like, that was literally, you see how it ended up. Maybe Castle will be the opposite. But I like a lot of what he does. I like that he's a winner, as much as that is like a cliche. But I am worried. And it's the same with Collier, who had like, except he's worse. Collier, he's much worse. He's smaller, but like a non-shooting point guard, I'm just like, ugh. So there's a ceiling limit there.
No, for sure, there is a ceiling limit there. In terms of like Rob Dillingham, I don't know. I think it's tough to come into the NBA just to be an offensive guy.
I don't see how he's not at his absolute peak like Jamal Crawford.
Exactly. And it's also tough to do that as a rookie. I mean, you can project, you can do that. Like, you don't have to when you're taking a guy. Who was the fourth pick? It's not the Pistons. Who is it? Is it the Pistons?
No, Pistons are 5. Oh, it's the Spurs.
The Spurs. Like,
actually, kind of a fun
That's the thing. Like, if you're the Spurs, you don't need him to be. I think I'm so focused on looking at these guys in the draft based on how they can contribute, like, in the near future. Like, almost immediately to like the next 2 years, because that's what the Bucks need, right?
Yeah.
However, I can't think like that when you're talking about these top prospects because, yeah, the Spurs don't need Rob Dillingham to come in and just be like, hey, we need you to go get buckets right away. No, they don't. They need a point guard to be able to develop with Victor Wembanyama. And that could be him. It's just like, bro, he's a small guy who just wants to be an offensive weapon. And it takes a long time for that to happen.
Yeah. I think Hero is maybe in the realm of possibilities.
Even Hero,
that's
Hero's
a better
like
play.
Bigger.
Yeah. Hero's what, 6'4"?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Lou Williams, Bones Highland are the two KOC comps. Those are pretty good. Like, I'd be surprised if he was much more than that. Which, again,
a player type that isn't in the league anymore and a guy who's in the league but doesn't play.
Yeah, so it's like, I think people just like are a little too excited about some of the shot creation.
Bones Highland with the 4th overall pick. First of all, I don't like that comp for
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's ideal.
I think it's just the size that he's coming up with these for.
Yes. But I don't think the play style is really Bones-esque. But
yeah,
just imagine like it's a good comp. Like, why would you take Bones Highland as the number 4 pick?
I'm just trying to think of like what's the absolute upside for this player at that size. Like, who's the best in like the last 5 years? I guess Trey is. Dame? But again, Dillingham is under 4 assists per game this past season.
Dame is a massive wingspan compared to him.
Yeah, Dillingham is a 6'2" wingspan.
That's so small. I'm pretty sure I have higher than a 6'2" wingspan.
I just want to see like what was Trae Young.
I think I have college. I'm like a +3 or a +2, excuse me.
Trae Young was a
and I am nowhere close.
27 and nearly 9 assists per game with Oklahoma.
That's crazy.
Where Dillingham
was a monster.
I mean, they had Reed too or whatever, but Dillingham is less than 4 assists per game.
If you have a smaller wingspan than me, who is nowhere close to ever being a professional athlete, like that's an issue.
Trey was a better rebounder too, although I'm not sure how the minutes add up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am.
Trey is a superior, like on a different level in terms of passing.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe Dillingham will be worth a top 5 even in this class. Draft. No, but that's but I'm saying my point is him and McCain are the two guys where I'm like, even in this draft, I would just rather take a different swing on. Like, if I'm at 4 and I could take Dillingham or I could take Buzelis, I'm taking Buzelis all day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or 5 or wherever. And I think Reed Shepherd can maybe make it, but I'm like, is his upside like Juice DeAnthony Melton? That's a good player.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd take a Juice DeAnthony Melton.
Yeah, I think DeAnthony Melton himself would help the Bucks a bit, although the size thing we've talked about is not ideal. And also, I don't see it with Risache. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Why? Why don't you see it?
I think he looks like a mediocre athlete in France, which to me says you will not be able to play NBA basketball.
To be fair, France has been actually getting a lot of monsters out there recently. So.
They've been getting a lot of there's still a difference.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like, just as a shooter at that size is elite.
I guess, but he wasn't an elite shooter at that size.
What are you talking about?
What did he shoot?
I'm pretty sure this season he was near 50%. Unless I'm going insane.
Maybe I am. 38%.
No, that's got to be like.
Oh, this is. Wait, where's the KOC stat come from? This says 47% this season. Is this because he played multiple places in 1 year? I think he played a bunch of games. I believe if I remember right, he started off red hot and then tailed off later in the year.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, so with Borg, he played Borg both. In Euro Cup, it was 56%. In LMB Pro A, it was 35%. And like double the games. So really crazy percentage over the first 17 games and then like mediocre later.
Still a good shooter, though.
Yeah. Really bad free throw shooter, though. And
yeah, that's crazy to me.
That's concerning. It's a shorter line. There's just, again, I would
Which you would
take
think
him.
It'd be easier.
I would take him. Oh, no, I meant it's not a shorter free throw, is it? I meant 3.
I know.
Oh, nice. I'm not saying I wouldn't draft him at all, but I would not take him 1. That's for sure.
No, I don't think I'd take him 1 either.
I've seen it's like I think Vicini really liked his defensive versatility at that size, but I'm just like, if he's not that good of an athlete, how good is he going to be on that end?
Good passer.
It's a good passer.
Like just at that size, being 6'8" and being able to shoot, pass, dribble, like.
I mean, pretty bad assist turnover ratio.
I mean, that's like, I see him as like, could it be Franz Wagner? I think so.
Maybe because Franz kind of playmaking did come out of nowhere, but I don't know.
I think Franz, like, you would take Franz Wagner like top 5 in this draft. Absolutely.
Yeah,
you might take him number 1 in this draft.
I don't see Reese Shea as having that upside, but yeah, I would take Franz that high here.
I think he could. Again, like
Franz was 3 assists per game his last year at Michigan. He was also quite a bit older. Reese Shea was like 1 assist to 1.3 turnovers this year.
Yeah, fresh 19 as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of projection, and I get why the traits have people excited, but I personally, I'm not a big believer. But again, it's this draft. Like a lot of people like Devin Carter, who again, it's like, okay, he's 22 and 6'2". How excited can you really get? Good dog of a defender, but it's like we've seen this. If you're 6'2", you're not going to be that great of an NBA defender.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, we called it our favorites. We talked about a lot of guys. Who are yours? So Kel'el Ware is one of your favorites. Who are 2 other favorites of yours in this draft?
I think in terms of just guys I would want to see for the Bucks, I think some of my favorites, obviously Ware.
Yeah.
I think Misi is up there for me.
Oh, interesting. So you're willing to go like F the spacing.
Yeah, I'm willing to see
spacing.
it. I'm very willing to see it because we've seen the 3-point spacing. We've seen it not work out. We've seen just so many things. I think you could add a valuable skill just with the athleticism, and I think Ware kind of gives you the best of both worlds. I mean, he's not going to be elite at either thing, but he has the ability to do both things. Like Misi's obviously the superior interior guy, like 100%. And he's the superior defender. But Ware gives you the ability to stretch out if you want to. He gives you the inside game. He gives you defensive versatility. He's not going to be as good as other guys at any of those things, but he's going to be able to do all of those things, which I think just you can develop. Like the Bucks, you can trust your own development, which
I think they can make it easy for him too.
Exactly.
Early on with the spacing, I think that would help him grow, which we've seen with Lively. Also, people yelling at me saying Dame's not an elite playmaker when I brought up this Bucks Lively kind of compass.
What?
Like, they're like, oh, Dame is not Luka. And I'm like, okay, no one said he was Luka, but he is an elite playmaker.
Absolutely, he is. What are we talking about?
Like a lot of people are like, oh, they don't have Luka and Kyrie. They couldn't do this with like a non-shoot. I'm like,
they have Damian freaking Lillard.
They have Dame and Chris and Giannis. Like the space will be there for these players.
That's ridiculous.
I think it's a more real conversation. Like, can the Bucks actually do with a non-spacing center given how they defend Giannis? But as we both talked about, like watch how teams defend the Bucks lately. It's like a lot around the top of the arc because that's where the Dame Giannis pick and roll is. There's going to be space for that center.
They also crowd Giannis at the elbow, which leaves room.
But less room. But yeah.
But there is room, and Giannis can see over the top and make that pass easy. We've seen him do it to guys like Bobby Portis. I think Kel'el Ware will be fine.
Yeah, or Misi.
Yeah, or Misi. Yeah, exactly. Misi's the more pertinent guy for this discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Misi will be fine in that role.
I agree.
So that's those are my top 2. I think your guy Da Silva has to be up there for me. He's not like my top guy, but just being able to come in, make an impact, I think he'd probably be 3. And I'm going Chomsky, man.
Okay, I like Chomsky. I would say Da Silva, and then I'll actually
Holmes if we're doing a top.
Yeah, I'll call it a tie between Holmes and Ware. You kind of sold me, but I'm going to put Holmes like 0.1% higher on the tie scale. So those 3. I like Misi at 4. Man, I just don't love some of the other prospects here.
It's not great.
I really, if those 4 guys are gone, I won't feel good about this. I guess I will put. God, I have to put Tyler Kolek next. I mean, we didn't talk about some guys. Like, I need to dig in more on some of the wings. Like,
this
Furphy.
Isn't the final, by the way. Just for listeners.
This is early.
This is early. We still got a few weeks until the draft.
I'm gonna put a guy I'm not done with, but people are higher than me. With Johnny Furphy.
I have not looked into him at all.
Oh wait, no, never mind. He's too slow. God, I have no idea who I'm putting 5. It might be one of these point guards. Or you know what? I looked in a little bit. Jalen Tyson. And then Tyler Smith 6. I think he's really raw, but the way he moves with that
Zach
size
Edey?
and shoots. Not for the Bucks.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm thinking favorite for the Bucks. Yes. I like Edey. I mean, I think a team's going to get a steal if he's going the last 10 picks of the first round.
Yeah. I think he could be good.
Jalen Tyson is like a 6'5" with 6'8" wingspan guy. Can shot create, played point guard for his team, knocked down some threes, scored a lot, and I think can be a good defender. He is 30th on KOC's board. So like I like that. I need to dig into his film more, but I like the signs of that, and it feels like he could be a pretty good player for the Bucks.
No,
from Cal.
Fair enough. Let's see. I mean, yeah, like I mentioned, we're gonna have more draft coverage coming soon. We should both have some articles up at some point.
You know what we should do next week?
Yeah.
Let's do a combined mock draft. I saw somebody else do this with one of these mock draft simulators. Okay. Let's just go for it. Let's just do a full first round mock.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll round out our player knowledge. We didn't talk about Topic, which we can probably save till next pod. I don't think
I think injuries. He's had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, that's the big flag.
Imagine if he falls.
That'd be fun. I mean, he's a horrible fit for what the Bucks are looking for,
absolutely.
But he's a good enough prospect that I would take him. I think he's going to walk in kind of like Dragic.
Dragic, okay, I like it.
I think that's his. And I see KOC has that too, so I feel a little better about it now.
Does he have that dog in him, though?
No, feel for the game and ball handling. That's it.
Can you have feel for the game and that dog in him? Are those mutually exclusive?
You can have both. Stephon Castle has both.
Oh, wow. Look at Castle.
Yeah, the very next player.
This is so funny to me.
I love these little. I know. Have you seen Buzelis' comp player?
I have not. Who was it?
Lamar Odom. Reed Shepherd is Derek White, which just feels so irresponsible.
That's Derek. No, that is very irresponsible.
Cody Williams is Jalen Rose.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
That's crazy. For a guy who you said is not great at anything, putting him as Jalen Rose is irresponsible. Arisa
Shea is MPJ.
I see that a little bit.
Salone is Chandler Parsons. That's like, where do you come up with that? Jacoby Walter is Chris Middleton.
He's gonna yell at Mark Cuban out of the car.
I want to look more at Jacoby Walter before next time. He's 6'4",
crafty shot creator who jitterbugs around the
Jitterbug.
That's oh my god! Remember that jitterbug? What was that? That was like a phone for old.
It was a phone for it had big buttons.
That's crazy.
Collier is Tyreek Evans or Emmanuel Mudiay.
That's not. Those are two very different players.
Nikola Jurisic is Chandler Parsons again. Popular Chandler Parsons draft. Or Sam Decker. Why would you take this player? Next player, Dadier, is Michael Finley. Why would you take Chandler Parsons?
Hey, if you can get Chandler Parsons when you have the ability to take Michael Finley, you got to do it. Jacoby Walter, Chris Middleton.
I know 6'4" with a 6'10" wingspan is kind of interesting. I didn't look at him enough.
He's not as big as Chris.
Bub Carrington is Big Lou Williams.
Big Lou Williams.
Filipowski being healthy Zach Collins is so rude.
I
love these are my Tyler Smith is Charlie Villanueva, which is what got me started on the comps. He's on to tweet at halftime.
Oh, this is so funny. Oh, man.
Yeah, the Mark Sears, Jalen Brunson at 32 is so irresponsible.
Absolutely not.
So right between Keyshawn George, who's Joe Ingles, and AJ Mitchell, who's Andrew Nemhard. Yeah, let me just sneak in a Jalen Brunson here. Tyler Kolek is also Jalen Brunson.
And Dragic, too?
That's crazy.
Say it. Hey, when you can get Joe Ingles 2 picks higher than Jalen Brunson and Goran Dragic, you got to do it.
I don't know how you don't put TJ McConnell here.
You mean TJ McCollum?
Yeah, TJ McCollum. Who said that?
It's so Swaggy P, which by the way, no one
tell who he meant.
Yeah, no one should absolutely listen to Nick Young or Gilbert Arenas takes in 2024.
No.
Do you see Pat Bebbs going on Gilbert Arenas' podcast?
That's going to be irresponsibly reckless. It's going to be irresponsibly reckless. Is he bringing,
no one should listen to it.
Is he bringing your guy?
No, I hate not Roan. Not Roan. I forgot about Roan.
I don't see how Kolek is not supercharged TJ McConnell.
Yeah.
That's my comp. I'm standing by it.
TJ McCollum is so funny, though, because he could
TJ
mean either.
McCollum.
Could mean either of them.
All right. Here at 37 overall, let me get shades of Al Horford, Oso Iguodala.
Hey, you know what? I don't mind that. I mean, at least Al Horford will shoot from the perimeter. That's one of the trademarks of Al Horford is, he's a floor spacing big. Oso does not do that at all.
Jalen Bridges is Royce O'Neal crossed with Mikal Bridges.
Melvin Ajinça is Raja Bell.
Yeah, he pulls out some really random players. I actually want to look at Bridges more. 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan who can shoot.
Royce O'Neal crossed with Mikal Bridges is so funny.
I'm like, oh, I want that player. And then you can get Peyton Sanford, who is Sam Hauser.
Hunter Sallis. Mitch Richmond.
There's a lot of Bucks down here. Cam Spencer's
Parker Tiles.
Pat Connaughton. I don't know. That was one of his comps too. I was like, is that a real player?
Who is that?
Kashad Johnson is Jay Crowder.
Cam Spencer is Pat Connaughton, yeah.
Crazy cross here. Pell Larson, a 23-year-old senior. He has 50th. Is shades of Desmond Bain and Grayson Allen. That's like an amazing player.
That's the greatest wing wing shooting guard in the NBA.
Well, we have Kevin Love at 51.
Wasn't there Kevin Love earlier? I swear.
There's been a couple Kevin Loves. And then Alex Caravan is Niang.
Oh, I think there's only one Kevin Love.
Zion Pullen is Tyus Jones, but he's 6'4".
This is
Grant
crazy.
Williams crossed with Julius Randle? And he's 6'4.5"? How is that even possible?
Bully ball point guard. When I think bully ball point guard, I think Grant Williams.
And Julius Randle. 2 point guards.
Yo, AOC, man. Who's letting him get away with this?
Dog. PJ Hall is post-prime Blake Griffin.
Jamal Sheed is TJ McConnell.
I know, he saved the TJ. Ooh, hold on. My new favorite. Adam Bana. Montrezl Harrell, Bismack Biyombo. I just don't know how he's allowed to say a tireless player with the qualities.
Malik Newman? The
qualities to be an excellent rotation big and put him at 62.
Oh my god, we got Coleman Hawkins, who's immature.
And then at 66, Babacar Miller, who's going to be Kyle Kuzma.
Shades of Kyle Kuzma. Oh my god. Yo, Judah Mintz is Tim Frazier.
Dog. Oh, Bronny's Davion Mitchell and Norris Cole. The full circle from LeBron making the Heat draft Norris Cole.
Who are some of these players? Who's Malik Newman?
I don't know who Malik Newman is. I will be honest with you. Immature Al Horford is killing me. I think he's actually more responsible this year. I feel like last year he was throwing out like very well-rounded players who couldn't shoot, and he called like 4 guys, those players with a jumper.
Malik Newman played like for a cup of coffee in the NBA in 2020, and that's it.
Yeah, the Cavs.
What the heck? Oh, and then he was back the next season, or 21-22. But also, like, why is this one of your draft comps?
I don't think he played that time.
You said Grant Williams mixed with Julius Randle, and you're pulling out Malik Newman?
This is insane.
It's insane.
This is insane, dude. I actually cannot believe the Malik Newman comp.
Well, who's the other guy? I was like, who is this?
Parker.
Wait, who?
It's like Parker something.
Parker Tiles. Who is?
I've never heard that name in my life.
It doesn't. When I Google Parker Tiles, it's not even a Wikipedia that comes up. It's a Reddit that says Parker Tiles was a problem. There's no way this is a real player.
Did he just make up a player?
Bro, this isn't a real player.
What? Wait, no. Oh, no. Dog, you put in Parker Tiles and StatMuse gives you Tony Parker. I was like, wait, this guy played 18 years.
This isn't a real player.
Oh. It's like a ringer bit.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
The Parker Tiles show with Thad Roper.
This is a bad joke.
It says NBA and EuroLeague journeyman, but it's just a bit.
It's just a bit.
Oh, man.
It's just a bit. It's not. He's putting fake players as his comparison.
That's crazy. Oh, it's Tyler Parker.
No, it's Parker Tiles.
No, I know, but somebody on Reddit said it's Tyler Parker. So I think that's who it's based on. So he was a player. He played defensive line?
No, he wasn't a basketball player.
I have no idea what's going on.
This is bad.
We've got a wrap here now that we've got the Parker Tiles.
That's not a real player.
The
That's
Bucks
so
should not draft
irresponsible.
Parker Tiles.
How do you have Alec Burks and Sam Hauser aside, like on either side of a not real basketball player? What are you trying to say about this guy Baylor?
Mark Sears, his Uncle Drew.
Can't believe they made an Uncle Drew movie.
I can't either. A different era of Kyrie Irving's life.
Yeah. Oh man, what a time. Hey, anytime you can put this is crazy. This is crazy. But yeah.
I can't anymore with chaos. We had a lot of fun with that. But yeah.
That's insane.
It is.
Read some others. Don't just depend on this one.
Yeah.
Because there's some takes in here. But yeah, this is not the end for us talking about the draft. We'll be back next week, like you mentioned, to do a full first round mock, which I'm very excited about.
It's going to be a mess. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. We're going to be bringing Parker Newman or whatever his name was. Malik Newman? Is that his name? Yeah, Malik Newman comps are going to be they're going to be flying. But we'll wrap this up. Say thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step here on Blue Wire and GSPN. I mean, also check out GSPN Premium. Go to new and improved GSPN.info. We'll have articles up there soon about our draft boards. And it's only available if you subscribe to GSPN Premium. Plus, you can get ad-free pods, bonus episodes, exclusive videos, all of that fun stuff. But you can also, just keep on listening and watching, whether it's on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. And if you are, make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening or watching this. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review on your podcast platform of choice. Check out everything, gspn.info. If you missed that, new hub for everything. All things GSPN. But yeah, pod random, and we'll talk to you next time.